all. I appreciate everyone attending this morning. We're gonna have a blast.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, welcome. So you let me know when I can start just to introduce the conference, and then the floor will be yours, Felicia.
Yeah.
I don't
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Emily. You can introduce today's conference.
Okay, welcome to the Power Skills 2020 5-day virtual conference. Today is already day 4 of the conference. And if you've been participating in other sessions, I hope that you're feeling as inspired and energized as I am. If it's your first session, welcome. You're going to absolutely love this session. So please check out the rest of the calendar for our upcoming sessions until tomorrow, August 8th. We'll throw in the link in the chat. My name's Emily, and I work as a career advisor in the McGill School of Continuing Studies Career Advising and Transition Services Office, also known as CATS. I'm here today with my colleague, Diana.
Hi.
So some session rules are, the session is going to be 60 minutes long. You'll be muted and you can unmute yourself whenever we open up to the questions. Videos can be on or off. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker today is none other than Felicia Hunt Fournier. In this session, Dare to Stand Out as a Candidate. We're going to be looking at what you need to know to be seen by recruiters. Felicia Hunt Fournier, is a HR talent acquisition and communication specialist with over 10 years of experience in various industries such as finance, information technology, aerospace, engineering, and retail, and in both agency and in corporate settings. Felicia has a bachelor's degree in communication, specialized in human relations, and most recently completed her training as a Neuro-Linguistic programming practitioner. Felicia, I can't tell you how excited we are to have you here with us today. And thank you so much again for being here with us. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Emily, for this awesome presentation. Thank you to McGill CATS team for your support, for inviting me to this event. I'm very excited to share with you all this presentation that is Dare to Stand Out as a Candidate. In this presentation, basically, we will review certain topics that, in my opinion, are important to know to make sure that you have an impact as a candidate and that you are seen by recruiters in today's modern business world. So Emily, you could go to the next slide. So basically the agenda for today, brief presentation, we will review the structure. There is 5 topics that we will touch together, which is first off, the importance of personal branding, so concepts and tips. Then we will review how to develop the LinkedIn network. Then we will also review certain pointers or advice on what to showcase in your resume. And also we will see in the 4th chapter, the art of professional communication. And finally, giving back. So how collaborating to other people's success could actually have a positive impact on your career, but also your life. Then we will conclude and I will open up the floor for a Q&A and answer all of your questions. So, presentation about me. Emily, you did a fantastic job presenting myself, my background. You could go to the next slide. Basically, on the next slide, we have, what I am professionally, what is my background. But there's much more to that than just education and titles. I would have to mention that I actually had my social insurance number. Back in the day, it was a card when I was only 5 years old. I worked my way up. I worked a lot from a young age. I started in the industry of entertainment, doing commercials and little shows here and there. And that experience has impacted my life in such a positive light because That's where I learned that it is okay to be you, it is okay to stand out, and it is okay to be unique. And okay, after that, I went on and I studied and I got my bachelor's degree and I did some courses in general psychology and HR management. And I kind of always worked in HR and talent acquisition, but with a unique flavor that is mine, that is daring to be different, daring to be disruptive, daring to be the person that met her own path. And most recently, I discovered neuro-linguistic programming and completed some training as a practitioner. And I would say it has brought a lot of light into everyday communications, and it is a little bit flavored in everything that I do. You could go on to the next slide, Emily. Thank you. So today, the structure, how the webinar will unfold. We have 5 sections. So first off, the importance of personal branding, concept and tips. Again, how to develop your LinkedIn network. Also, what to showcase in your resume. Fourthly, the art of professional communication, and then giving back. If we start with our next slide, which is the importance of personal branding, we will review concepts and I'll also provide tips. So here we go. Let's start our adventure together. What is personal branding? We've heard a lot about this. It's a buzzword. It's really something that we see in everything that we do that has to do with talent acquisition. There's personal branding, corporate branding. It is very widely shared, but we will review certain definitions. Then, why should you invest in a personal brand? And finally, how to develop your brand, which is knowing yourself and what you want to contribute to professionally. So first topic, what is personal branding? If you go look on Google, you will find a big, I can't say the word big enough, resume and all kinds of concepts and definitions. And you can get a little lost out there on Google with what is personal branding. So if we look at personalbrand.com's definition, they make a difference between personal brand and the art of personal branding. Basically, personal brand is a widely recognized and largely uniform perception or impression of what an individual is based on their experience, their expertise, their competencies, actions, and or achievements within a community, industry, or marketplace at large. So many aspects here: experience, expertise, competencies, actions, and achievements. Now, the art of personal branding is the conscious and intentional effort to create and influence public perception for an individual and positioning them as an authority in their industry, which elevates their credibility and differentiates you or themselves from the competition. Ultimately, it is to advance your career, to increase the circle of influence, and have a larger impact. So, what do we retain after seeing these 2 definitions? Basically, your brand is how you promote yourself. So it is a unique combination of skills, experience, personality that you want the world to see. It is telling your story and how it reflects your conduct, behavior, which is spoken or unspoken words and attitudes. Why should you invest in a personal brand? Well, the keywords here: elevate your credibility, differentiate yourself from the rest, and being impactful. That's what makes you unique. That's what makes your brand. On the next slide, we will see how to develop your brand. Basically, it's all about knowing yourself and what you want to contribute to professionally. So question for you. When we think of medium to larger size companies, they all have mission, vision, and value statements. And they even have a little blurb on their history. I strongly recommend you do the same exercise. What is your mission? What is your vision? What are your values that guide you throughout your professional journey? So, how to start? Were you a top performing athlete? I don't know. Did you coach a little league? Are you investing time volunteering? Or are you maybe a foodie at heart? Perhaps you have a passion for salsa dancing. Integrate those elements in your brand and make it part of your story. Many attributes and qualities that we've developed through these experiences can be put to use in a professional setting. These is what we call transversal skills. And this is what recruiters look for. Then there is the part of knowing what you want to contribute to and what are your professional life goals. Basically, what is your professional legacy? What do you want to be recognized for in terms of contribution to the workforce? Now, this is not done overnight. It does take some time. Invest in your brand. It is the most hardest and time-consuming part of your journey as a professional, but it's the #1 step to set the tone for the next steps when you're searching for a new position or if you're embarking on a new professional journey. Next slide, we will talk about basically the impact word of this chapter. Market yourself in a way that resonates with you. Go ahead, I dare you to. So what this basically means is dare to just be yourself. Dare to put yourself out there. You are unique. You are unique as a professional, and whatever you may contribute will have an impact. Always have confidence in your abilities. So section 2, how to develop your LinkedIn network. We will review the importance of LinkedIn networks. So we will review certain statistics from LinkedIn. We will also discuss why sharing meaningful content and articles related to your field of expertise is so important. Also, the importance of engaging with your connections, following influencers on LinkedIn. Oh yes, it's not only for Instagram, it's also for LinkedIn. And new tools like creating polls or joining discussion groups. And we will also review why sending personalized invitations in a strategic way is a way to develop your LinkedIn network. So on the next slide, LinkedIn. Many of us know LinkedIn, but for those who don't, it was founded by Jeff Weiner in 2003, roughly 15,000 employees in Mountain View. Recently, we've all heard that the COVID impacted LinkedIn in a way that unfortunately they had to let people go. But the thing to remember is that LinkedIn is widely used worldwide, and there's a lot of people working at LinkedIn to help us develop our brand, to help us as professionals. And there's many information tools that can be used within LinkedIn. On our next slide, we will review certain statistics about LinkedIn. So basically, 675 million people use LinkedIn. And monthly, the active LinkedIn users are of the count of 310 million. So what does that mean? It means that roughly a little less than 50% of people that subscribe to LinkedIn and have accounts are actually active. Every 2 seconds, there is a new member to LinkedIn. So it is growing and growing. These numbers were last updated recently. Next, to share facts about. On the next slide, we will see certain little informations that could spark reflection. Emily, thank you for sharing the next slide. So the fun facts, there is 56 million students and recent graduates on LinkedIn. 24% are millennials, so 18 to 24 years old. There is 87 million millennials on LinkedIn and 11 million that are in decision-making positions. The average income of LinkedIn users stands at $47,000 per year. Now, 90 million LinkedIn users are senior level influencers and 63 million are in decision-making positions. Those are the people we need to follow. Those are the people we like to connect with to grow our network on LinkedIn. Question for you. Do you think that millionaires have time to use LinkedIn? Who would have known that 41% of millionaires use LinkedIn on a regular basis? And every day, there is 2 million posts of articles and videos that are published. Most importantly, 95% of recruiters use LinkedIn on a regular basis. What does that mean? You have to be visible. You have to be there and share your brand and share content and engage with people on LinkedIn, because there's a lot of resources, there's a lot of people there that could help you out in your job search. On the next slide, we will review certain other facts, and which is sharing meaningful content and articles that are related to your field of expertise. I insist on this slide because out of those 675 million users, so there is lots of room to make way for your brand and yourself as a professional. Now, little tips, the best on LinkedIn. Post splits, which is 5, 7, or 9 headings, also perform best. And articles with titles of 40 to 49 characters, they kind of help you get an algorithm going that will also work best on LinkedIn. And who would have known that articles with video, again, it's a question of algorithms, and it is also best to upload videos natively on LinkedIn. So little reminders here if you want to start engaging, want to start sharing content. This could be very helpful to make sure that you have visibility. In our next slide, we will review other aspects. Sorry, I believe my video is lagging. I'm on vacation on the Gascon Coast, so I'm sorry if there's little glitches. Developing your LinkedIn network. It is well worth the efforts. It is well worth all the time you put in, because this is a platform you'll be able to engage with influencers and people that are in positions to actually offer you interesting professional opportunities. If we move on to our next slide. Number 3, what to showcase in your resume. Now, and we know how to develop our LinkedIn network resumes. So basically, your resume should be a mission to you. Describe yourself in a professional and engaging way. How to do so? Again, refer to your brand. What are your goals? Be unique. What is your story? Refer again to your brand. Again, what are you bringing to the table? So here, I invite people to include numbers and statistics. So basically, what results have you achieved individually or even as part of a group? What projects have you contributed to and how have they helped you or the company achieve targets? One aspect that I've always been asked when I'm doing one-on-one coaching sessions is, should I talk about my volunteering experience or world travel? Yes, don't be afraid to include these in your resume. They are part of your story and they are who you are, and it's what makes you unique as a professional. Describe them as you would describe a professional position. Next slide. The art of professional communication. So in this section, we will important to have in mind when engaging with different people in your professional network. What I would like to mention here or to stress is find your own voice. Be genuine and remain yourself. Also, when engaging in networking events and meeting different people in your professional network, have an interest for the person behind the title. So basically, have you ever noticed that in any networking event or even family gatherings with extended family members, we always introduce ourselves by our job title? Well, we are more than just a title, and there is more to our story. To have in mind is to remain polite in all circumstances. I would like to refer to diplomatic communication. So it is important versus pilot license story. I'd like to share a little tidbit here. When you are interested in the person behind the title, you may that relate to passions. It could be cooking.
Felicia, I think it totally cut off.
Okay, sorry everybody, it's to be a little glitch. I hope everybody is still with us. We were discussing the importance of remaining yourself, but also being professional and respecting your boundaries. So story chart versus pilot license story, basically. Yes.
Felicia, hi, it's Diana. Just a suggestion, maybe to improve the quality
about their passions. Yes, hi.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Okay, good. Just to improve the quality of the call, what if while you present, you turn off your camera?
Yeah.
So only hear your voice and we see your presentation, but it might help.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I
No,
should have,
that's
is the
okay.
connection is not working properly.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm gonna stop video.
yeah,
Okay.
good. Thank you.
So where should I start?
This slide.
Okay, go. So sorry about that, everyone. Remote access to Wi-Fi is always a little sketchy. So thank you for staying on board with us. So I will review here, finding your voice, be genuine and remaining yourself. So basically, have an interest for the person behind the title. So have you ever noticed that in a networking event or family gathering with extended family members, we always introduce ourselves by our job titles? Well, we are more than just a title, and there is more to our story. Now, I'd like to say to remain yourself. Remain yourself while being polite and diplomatic in your communications and respecting your personal boundaries. The strawberry tart versus pilot license story. So when I was in a networking event once, somebody shared with me that they had a passion for food and more precisely desserts, strawberry tarts. So after the networking event, when I went back to my home and started, sending little messages, thanking everyone for their time, I thought, why shouldn't I not share a little recipe to this person that shared with me that they have a passion for desserts? So I did. And being a woman in business, this may or could have been seen as an invitation to other things. Now, luckily for me, the person that received the little thank you note with the recipe for the strawberry tart did not take it as a double sense or took it as a professional basis. But in today's world, we are still subject as women to harassment or discrimination or bias based on gender. So, for example, if it was a man talking to another man and in a networking event, and the person would have shared that they're interested in aviation and they're doing their pilot license, well, if the person would have shared a link to a cool website that has information about the license to become a pilot, I don't think there would have been a bias there. So this is what I mean by remaining polite, but respecting your personal boundaries, all while having an interest for the person behind the title. Basically, the keywords to remember is receptiveness, openness, and mutual respect. So if we move on to the other slide, this is something that really I take to heart. The biggest communication problem today is that we listen to reply. We do not listen to understand. If we move on to the other slide, we're going to go over some information about what is listening, not to reply, but to understand. Arguably, listening is one of the most difficult skills in communication. Unfortunately, we're getting worse at it. In 2006, Dr. Ralph Nichols, who also established the first study in the field of listening nearly 40 years ago at the University of Minnesota, he quantified that we spend 40% of our day listening to others, but we retain just 25% of what we hear. Well, by 2011, the sound expert Julian Treasure, in a TED Talk, 5 Ways to Listen Better, found that in his own research, we now spend 60% of our day listening to others, and we still retain just 25% of what we hear or less. Perhaps it's because it's a louder and louder world. I like to think or say that we have outsourced our ability to communicate to social media. What does that mean? We hear more, but we communicate less efficiently, which has unfortunately impacted the quality of all our relationships, including our professional behaviors. Now, why we touch this topic is because there is a concept that is conscious listening, and this will have an impact on your communications professionally. So conscious listening is the act of being intentional and present during our communications between ourselves and others, while being aware of our own feelings and the feelings of others and their needs. So I've joined some links here. I put some links to Udemy and juliantreasure.com, where if you wish to develop your skills in that domain, which is conscious listening, there is a bunch of exercises that you guys could look up. Of course, there's other ways of developing your skills and other resources. Feel free to explore them because communication is key, especially when you want to stand out as a candidate. If we move on to our next slide. So our next slide is a reminder. How do you feel about thank you notes? I'm talking about notes. I'm not talking about email communications or virtual thank yous. I'm talking about the old way of communicating, which is handwritten communication. So it is not old-fashioned. It is still very much appreciated in today's modern business world. And it is actually what can make you stand out from the rest. You've had a great interview process with a recruiter and you want to thank them, go ahead. Keep in mind though, it is not the space nor the time to discuss and overview all of the company's history. You may be excited about how the process has impacted your life. You may want to write a 3 to 4 page thank you note, reminding them why you are a good candidate and also reviewing the company's history. Please restrain yourself. That's not the time to do so. A simple thank you note stating why you are thankful, how it has impacted you, and that you are available to communicate or to answer questions at their convenience will do. Also, if you care to send a little thank you token, please restrain from sending flowers. Keep that for your significant other. Keywords to remember in this chapter: connection and understanding. So in our next section, our last section, giving back, how collaborating to other people's success could positively impact your career and your life. So basically, I'm going to share my personal story of what I did on LinkedIn roughly 2 months ago. It was beginning of May, and I had just learned that I permanently lost my position due to COVID-related incidents and COVID-related impacts on the industry I was working for. And I took 2 weeks to turn myself around, 2 weeks of which, of course, there was self-doubt and a little bit of pity and a little bit of questioning what was going on. And one morning, I took my computer and took my courage and said, you know what? We're not alone in this. Many other people are going through the same thing. And why not help each other out? So I launched the idea of doing one-on-one LinkedIn coaching sessions for free, thinking, well, if I have one person that responds, that would be at least one person's life that maybe I could have a positive impact on. And the response was amazing. I shared a lot with many different professionals, young professionals to intermediate to senior level professionals, people that just wanted to chat and get off their chest what they were going through. And it was life-changing. I actually, for the first time in my professional career, felt that I was making a difference. So all that to say, enjoy the ride. Be open to new professional possibilities. And careers are not always all mapped out. Allow yourself to be flexible. Volunteering and giving back to your community is a whole new network to explore with people who share the same personal interests. And I like to quote here Christy Boner from christyboner.com. Sharing is caring. So if we move on to our next slide, what I would like for us to remember from this presentation is collaborating to other people's success is also helping yourself as an individual and yourself as a professional. If there's one equation that you'd like to remember from all this presentation is that shared knowledge is shared success. And this image of a stairwell where you see two individuals at the bottom is a great reminder that you are not alone in your journey. You are not alone as a professional that is searching for something meaningful in your professional life. Together, we are stronger. And when we share our experiences, we actually elevate ourselves as professionals. In conclusion, let's wrap up. Dare to be you. We are unique individuals, both personally and professionally. And you are a unique contributor to any workforce. So go get them, guys and girls. We're capable, we are unique, and let's bring our flavor to the workforce. So thank you everyone for joining in today. I know there was some glitches, there was some issues with the video share. I'm so sorry for those inconveniences. Again, I am spending my last days of vacations here on the Gaspé coast, and connection is not always, the best, but we make do. And I'd like to thank all the McGill Cats team who made all of this possible. I'd also like to give a good shout out to the CGE Emploi de Chandler, where I am presently doing the live feed from. And a special thank you for everyone that has contributed to my professional and personal journey. I want to thank my family, my friends. Sorry, I'm getting emotional, but everyone that believed in me. So thank you for joining. The floor is open for any questions you may want to ask. Special thank you to everyone that's listening. You also have an email address, which is felicia.fhf@outlook.com, where I've created this email for anyone that wants to reach out, share their story, ask questions. Don't hesitate. It may take a couple of days to respond, but I promise I'll respond to everybody that writes in. And LinkedIn, of course, if you'd like to add me on LinkedIn, I invite everyone to reach out and to join networks. And together, we're stronger. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Felicia. That was a great presentation and really showing us how the importance of just knowing yourself and knowing how to develop your personal brand, understanding what are your mission, your values, and then working through that, connecting that to your LinkedIn profile, developing your network. and just you gave so many valuable takeaways. Thank you so much. And by the way, the comments in the chat are exploding with love for you. Everybody is saying how they're so grateful. They're very thankful for this presentation and appreciate that you took the time out of your vacation to be here with us. Thank you so much. I know we did have a question earlier, much earlier on the posts that are split into 5, 7, or 9 headings. Yes. On LinkedIn, I believe. What does this mean exactly? If you can just expound on that piece.
Yes, of course, with pleasure. So basically, LinkedIn have algorithms and there's ways of sharing content that will actually push you higher in the newsfeed. So it's just to separate in paragraphs your content. So it could be 5, 7, or 9 paragraphs, which could be a couple of lines each. There's different ways of doing so. I, unfortunately, am not an expert on the marketing content and the algorithms, but I'm pretty sure that if you go to LinkedIn and you reach out to LinkedIn, or even on LinkedIn e-learning, there is probably a lot of content about how to leverage your content and make it more impactful and bring you to the top of the newsfeed.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, that definitely clarifies for me. I hope that did for who asked the question, and feel free to speak up if you have, follow up on that. We did get another question on, so Jennifer Wilson, thanks for sharing, Felicia. Excellent presentation, very organized. How do you think COVID will change your career path?
Change my career path professionally or in general?
Does Jennifer want to elaborate? It's just generally, how does it change one's career path?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So if Jennifer wants to speak up.
Yes, go ahead, Jennifer.
I think that's what she meant. Yeah.
Sort of in general, how because it seems like when she was volunteering, she found a lot of more satisfaction from that than she had ever experienced in her career. So I'm just wondering if she found that it might have changed her career path altogether.
Yes, so actually it did, Jennifer. Thank you for the question. It opened new horizons. It opened professionally new doors. And that's why I wanted to share that experience with you all, because sometimes we don't think that it could have an impact or it could have any results. But when you do something wholeheartedly and you do it for the right reasons, I strongly believe in karma, and that what you put out, you attract. So we are magnets. And if we care to share our experience in a positive light, we make a difference, and not just personally, but professionally. And yes, indeed, it has brought me onto a different professional path, a different journey that I'm still exploring, and that I'll continue to explore for quite some time, because it is very rewarding and it is very nourishing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know if we have any other questions. I'll leave a moment. Oh, Jennifer said, great answer, and I totally agree. I'm sure you will be very successful in any path you choose. That's so kind. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
All right, well, in that case, looks like no questions. Everybody, you know where to reach Felicia. There's her email, there's her LinkedIn. Felicia, thank you so much for sharing such great wisdom with us today. And once again, thank you so much for joining us here at the Power Skills 2020 conference. Everyone, thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for the rest of the day's sessions and events for today and for tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Thank you, Felicia.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.